I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's be free Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts.
Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Therese and you can find me at Lost in Paper. If you haven't met me before, I make cards. I love making cards and I have started making cards on my Cricut and was really excited that Brandy asked me to this event to share some designs with you. I did post a question in the Facebook group. So I have a couple of questions. So if you've got any, just type them in and I'll see if I can answer as many as I can. If not, you can always write them in the Facebook group and I can get back to you there as well. Oh, thank you, Helen. I'm glad you enjoyed my cards. I don't know if anyone has had a chance to watch my presentation yet, but just in case you haven't, I actually was featuring the Cricut card mat, which is a really kind of unique product from Cricut. And it was designed originally, I think, for the Cricut Joy, because the Joy's got such a small platform that people who had the Joy were missing out on being able to make a card just in one layer. They had to sort of just do the front of a card and then join it onto another card, which is often how I make cards anyway. But then the people with the makers and the explorers kind of went like, oh, we want one. We want to use those patterns and the designs that people are creating for these card mats. So Cricut designed this this card mat that does 4 at a time, or not. And just in case you haven't downloaded, I have got a freebie on the Cricut card mat, but it also will walk you through how to make these cards with or without the mat. So you can still get the same look, the insert cards, the cutaway card look, with your regular mat, you know, just like the regular, like one of these blue what are they called? They're the light grip mats. Sorry, that's a bit shiny, isn't it? My apologies. Too early in the day for me. These are the cards that I made. Let me just move this out of the road. And these SVGs, if you haven't downloaded them already, make sure you do. They're just, you can find them just below the video in my class. And if you've got the free pass, you've got 24 hours to access them. So make sure you do download them. There's 4 different designs, and you don't have to use them on insert cards or cutaway cards. You can use them however you please because they are cut files and write files. Well, one of them's a write, but I do 4 different designs, and I take you through like a really easy way, like the insert way, and then I amp it up and use the same design. So you can read that. This is your birthday card and envelope. You're welcome. That made me laugh. But then we amped it up and I made them more like a cutaway style without the inserts here. So, and did even some stamping and heat embossing on that one. So just how to do those. I'll walk you through how to do everything in my video if you haven't seen it already. Is everyone enjoying the summit so far? I know I am. I've learnt so much. I've been watching all the classes. Melinda's got a question. Hello from North Carolina. Hello, Melinda. Can you do the cutaway cards on the card mat or just the insert cards? Good question. Yes, you can, basically is the answer. The insert cards, so you can buy packs like this from Cricut, and I think there are other companies that make them that have, they come like pre-made. So you have like, each pack has 12 card bases and 12 inserts. So this is literally just a piece of cardstock and the 12 envelopes that go with it as well. So the insert cards can be used on the mat, but so can the cutaway cards. Now these are slightly different because they have the adhesive behind them, but just let me get them out of the pack. I should have got them out before, shouldn't I? But they actually have the adhesive layer. So I have, in the cards that I've made here, which one's the second version? This is almost like a cutaway card because I have actually adhered a layer on the back of that. But these ones, you actually put the design in the design space, and then you pick whatever card base that you want. It has adhesive already on the inside. You choose what you want to put to see, what you're going to see when you cut it away. And then, so you peel off the adhesive, attach your cardstock, cut it out, and then basically you just weed out the design. So you end up with a very similar look to this, but you're only going to have the one color behind. The way I've done mine, you can have, it's easier to have multiple colors for your design, but lots of different options with the packs and colors and things that you can use. There is also a foiled version that I've never tried, which is very similar, but you don't have to buy these packs to make these cards. In my video, I actually share with you how you can make the same kind of designs without having to buy these. And I've got all the dimensions because there are all different sizes. The sizes are a bit odd the way that they've labeled them. So there R means rectangle, S means square, and the sizes, the lower the number, the smaller the card. So there's R10, R20, which is your typical A2, right up to 40, I think 30, and S40. So it's easy enough to work out. In fact, the insert cards, the sizes are on them, but in my freebie, I've actually put down all the different sizes. So if you want to make your own insert cards or / cutaway versions, you can do it yourself. Just copy these sizes here, and there's only 2 larger sizes that won't work in the Joy. Otherwise, all the sizes that I've used in my cutaway cards today will fit in the Joy as well. What time is it? Betsy asks. It's 7:30 in the morning. You've just, I don't know if you just caught Alicia. She's also from Australia. She lives just up the road from me. And she had a little bit of an earlier start than me. Hers was 7 a.m. So I noticed your terms of use say they can't be used for commercial use. Does that apply to this summit as well? No, commercial use simply means if you're going to try and sell it on or sell it as multiples somewhere. If you do like fundraising, or even if you just sell a few cards at a market, those sorts of that sort of commercial use, like to me, that's just your own use really. But if you were doing multiples and selling, you know, to shops and using the image like hundreds of times, but if it's just like using it for yourself, even just selling on to friends, like that sort of thing's perfectly fine. If you're not sure, just ask, email me. I like a chat. Oh, thank you, Alicia. I did create my own SVG files for this. All of these were designed by me. And the some of the fonts, I'm just trying to think. I used I don't know if you've signed up with Creative Fabrica as yet, but they have the most amazing font selections. If you are you don't actually have to, they have a lot of free stuff as well. So, but you know, their plan is still very affordable as well. But there's a lot of great companies and a lot of independent card makers that sell some amazing SVGs and fonts. It's great if you can support people and let our passion be our hobby/job. So we do appreciate it when you choose to use our products, and even just things like commenting and liking and sharing. It doesn't. You don't have to even pay money to support us. All those sort of things really help us. So Sue asks, to make your own cutaway cards, where do you get the adhesive backing? Well, Sue, I actually don't use adhesive backing. I simply do the cut like I would for an insert card. And you can see this in my video. But basically, I just choose the card that I want behind. I will put the adhesive, like I just use probably my go-to favorite glue. If I'm going to use a liquid glue at the moment, is this one. I think everyone's been using it throughout the summit. So Barely Art, it's a great liquid glue. It dries fairly quickly and it doesn't warp the cardstock. And I usually just use that on the inside of the card and then adhere rather than have to muck around with adhesive. But you could try, I think it is a special adhesive from what I've read, and I just found it easier to do it that way. So when I did supply both designs, one with and without the insert tabs, but it's really easy in Design Space just to remove them yourself. You can either hide the image or remove it with contours. It's not hard, but I just thought it's easier to give you both options. And these are sized for the R20 card. If you do want to change up the size, it's easy enough to do as well. And I did have one question in the Facebook chat where people were having problems with the inserts cutting just that little bit too high. I don't know if anyone's asked that question here yet. And it did cut slightly high because these will drop automatically onto the card mat when you go to make it, and it won't let you sort of just move it down a smidge without it sort of clicking back into place on the actual computer. So for me, it only cut slightly high, so I just took a very small portion off the base of my card to make it look a little bit more even. But I did read somewhere, and I don't know if this is only in the Joy, but if you click on the 3 dots when you've gone to make it, it will let you move your image down a smidge. I did try it in Design Space for the card mat 2x2, and it would just click back into place. So I don't know if that's changed in the Joy software or not, but that's an option. And another thing I found that you could do is just make your design in Design Space before you send it to make it. Just make your design slightly smaller. Someone said down by 0.5. I don't even know that you'd need to downsize it quite that much. Obviously, your insert card that you make will also need to just have a little smidgen taken off the side to fit as well. But that's always an option if you're having trouble. And I did see that someone had a faulty mat in their Joy. Basically, the mat itself was slightly created with a slightly longer top. So every time she tried to cut, it was actually cutting the insert up onto the mat itself. So that was a real pain. And after contacting Cricut, I found out it was actually a faulty mat. And everything went perfectly after that. So Patty asks, which program do you use to design your cards? So do you mean the SVG themselves? The cards themselves, I use Design Space on Cricut. That's where I do all the setting up, run the card mat and everything through. The SVGs, I used Inkscape, which is a free program. A little bit of a learning curve. Probably the hardest thing, because it's easy to design something. I found it not too bad to design something in there. But when you import it, it was because I wanted this to specifically stay this size to fit an R20 card. I found it was difficult to import it at the correct size. But once I worked that out, we got there. So when you import to Design Space, it should import at the correct size for an R20 card. That was my plan, and it works. I've tested it, and it did work, but you can always adjust the sizes after. Any events coming up? I have a few things planned. Obviously, I've been creating just my regular YouTube videos. I've got a special event coming up that I can't mention just yet in October, which is pretty exciting. And sorry, that's terrible to do that to you, but it's all in the pipeline so far and it's not been announced. So I'm very excited about that one. And also I've got another card summit. It's not a Cricut one, another one with Brandy coming up in August. So we always have such fun at these events. And I really like the social atmosphere. It's great just getting to know people. And, you know, we're all the same. We just have all the same interests. And it's nice to talk with people who know what I'm talking about. So I'm sorry, yes, I have got an event coming up, but I can't let you know what it is just yet. What I wanted to say is I had a lot of people say, you know, they don't know whether it's worth investing in a mat like this. They're not, like in Australia, I can't remember, I don't even think it's $20 for one of these mats. So they're not a big outlay financially, but they are consumable. So each portion will get you apparently 20 cuts is what Cricut says. So 20 cards from each portion. So on one mat this size, that'll be 80 cards. The main thing I could see this really coming in handy for someone who's a learner card maker, not really, and you just want something that's really quick and easy just to get, have a bit of a go. And if you buy this and a pack of cards, you can punch out a heap of cards in no time at all just to do this insert sort of style where you literally just put the cardstock in through the inserts in the corners. So another time I would suggest this would be a great buy would be if you wanted to create multiples. So say you had a save the date. You know, how easy would it be to have a card and a beautiful cutout rows, and then you could write save the date, and you could punch out 80 of those in no time at all and just put a nice coloured insert in behind it. The cut all your own card bases using the dimensions that I've put, which are the same as these, which are in my freebie. The freebie you can find at, it's linked beneath my video, which is today, available today for, no, I think is it the 24 hours till 8 o'clock tomorrow morning? You've got to watch that as well. I do have more questions. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Claudia. Do I prefer using the Joy to make cards over the Cricut? I don't have a Joy, Claudia. I only have a Cricut Maker. I hear a lot of people love their Joys. It's a good size. You don't have, especially if you don't have a lot of space in your craft area, it's a good affordable machine, and you can do most things with a Joy that you can with the other Cricuts. I have the Maker, but this mat can only be used with a Maker and an Explorer. This is the 2x2. So all the tips and tricks I've written in the freebie as well. So, and also, did you know that you can actually write on the inside of your card? So you can actually put a sentiment on the inside on the mat as well. You just would need to do that before you did the cutting on the outside. Simply fold your card, put it in backwards, do the writing, flip it over, put it back in, do the cutting, and then put your insert in. Susan says, what is the most complicated project you've created on Design Space? Let me think. I think layering, what have I done? I did multiple floral designs once and did a very layered up flower. I think it had about 4 or 5 different flowers on it and writing, and that was when I was new to Design Space, so it took me a little bit of working around, and I've got that linked. If you find me on Design Space, you can follow me, or you can find a link for those 3 cards there, and there's also a video showing how I did those. And that was when the Maker was new to me, and I was very impressed with how easy Design Space was to use. Any other questions? Do I have a class on how to use the card mat? I do, Ginger. It's here at the summit, and you've got 24 hours to watch it, so till 8 o'clock tomorrow morning on the Eastern Standard Time. New York time. I just say New York time. So I have a YouTube video on how to use the mat. Not yet. This, I probably can follow that up. That is something I'll put on my to-do list. But the freebie that I've got will walk you through how to create these cards with and without the mat. So you don't actually have to have the mat to create the insert cards. But there are some really good fun designs in Design Space and fun ways to use the mat. It's just something different to give your cards a different look, and I love being able to change it up and, you know, go from like an insert card to more of like a cutaway style. So thank you, Deanna. I'm glad you enjoyed my class. I had a lot of fun creating it, and hopefully it answered all your questions. I don't usually make my own envelopes, Joanne. I usually just make unless I'm making an odd sized card, but typically I make an A2 size card, so I tend to buy envelopes. But unless I want something special, I might do a liner in the envelope, but typically I just make my own cards and use envelopes, pre-made envelopes. So Claudia asks, that mat is used for the Maker. Can you make 4 cards at the same time? Yes, you can, Claudia. You can make 4 cards at the same time. You can do 1 card at once. I had someone ask about, you know, like wearing a certain area first, because the Maker, when you send it to make it, will automatically put the card in that top left. It's like when you do the other making on the cards, it'll always go to that top left corner. But you can just, if you're only making one card, make sure that you peel off both the protective layers of film. And if, like this section, you're losing a bit of tack on it, then you can always drag and drop to another section on your mat and it'll cut on that section. The only limitations are that you can only cut the same size card on the one mat. So if you want to do a square card and a rectangle 20 and a rectangle 10, you will need to cut them on 3 separate mats on your computer, but you can actually set it up so that it'll cut the rectangle 20. You can sit the cards in here ready to go. You just have to push go on the program each time. I hope that makes sense. But Cricut will only allow you to do one size card on one mat on the computer at a time. I think we've got to wrap it up shortly because we've got a VIP. The live virtual crop for the VIP is members is starting very soon. It's at 7 p.m. So, oh, that's very soon. So I'm so glad that you joined me here. Any more questions, anything that I've missed, don't forget to grab the freebie because I've answered a lot of them in there. Otherwise, just message me at the Facebook group. If you haven't followed me already, I'd love you to join me. I've got a YouTube channel called Lost in Paper. I'm also at Facebook, have a blog, and what else do I do? Instagram and Pinterest. So I look forward to seeing you there. And it's been a blast. I've had such fun and I hope you're enjoying the summit as much as I am. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.